morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It's 10 a.m. I was up at 4 a.m. or wherever it was. Real Madrid beat Manchester United 2-0 last night. One more of the midnight games to go. 2 a.m. against Dortmund on Monday. We're going to run through that 2-0 defeat to Real Madrid. You might have missed it. You might have watched my match reaction, or you might have watched my 5 things we learned, a little short video that's gone out. I forgot to put that on YouTube. Damn it. Sorry. I'll put that on YouTube this morning. Maybe I'll do it later. Anyway, good morning. We're going to run through that game. We're going to run through David Ornstein confirming that 60 million euro verbal bid. What's a verbal bid, by the way? Is that just like on the phone? Oh, yeah, 60 mil. Right. We'll speak about that. 60 mil bid for Hojlund. Amrabat, lots of noise that continues to just kind of get louder and louder from Italy. But we're going to focus on the Real Madrid game. Plenty of talking points that are coming from it. You're going to let me know what you think in the comments. Then we'll run through all the transfers. And hey, enjoy the show. Who's here this morning from the member gang? Let's have a look. Ines, you're there. You're saying, how you feeling this morning? Oh, I'm a wee bit tired. Just like that accent was. That was terrible. T, good morning to you. During the early morning. Hey, look, respect to everyone else who does it. That's not my cup of tea. I don't have to do it. Devo, Kenny, Stu, good morning. Chris, you're there. Moncton, we've got Andrew Wright, Carl, Wayne, and Kieran. Alex, you're there. We've got Ricardo, Sue, Ian, how you doing, buddy? At least you got a couch to sleep on. I literally did. I napped on that couch the other day. I was like, no, I'll be polite. I won't go and wake her up. So I napped on that after the Wrexham game before the live show in the morning. But hey, let's get the show on the road today. It was of course, last night the biggest positive, was Andrew Onana's debut, and the fact that he is getting so much praise, despite the fact that we lost 2-0, it's kind of indicative of how he actually played. I was really impressed by Andre Onana. I'm going to run through all of that. But before we get the show properly started, I've got to say a big shout out to the main man himself, Jack Stewart, who's gifted 5 memberships. Is there a word in the English language? When someone, is it a palindrome that reads the same forward and backwards? Is there a word when someone's got a first name and a surname that are both first names, like Jack Stewart or Mark Craig? I don't know. Is there a word for that? I don't know whether there is. Boring question. I know. I was thinking about it. But to kick off the show, I kind of want to speak about this. Man, anybody watch the game yesterday? It was a really innocuous injury for Kobbie Mainoo. Casemiro, I think, tackled Rodrigo. Rodrigo fell, and just all of his body weight just fell on Kobbie's ankle, and he went down in a bit of a heap. Got some attention for a couple of minutes, but he left, as you can see, left head in hands. I mean, he would have been devastated by that. He's had nothing but praise, correct praise, so far this preseason, really standing out. And the fact that Erik ten Hag started him there against Real Madrid is a real testament to how much belief Erik ten Hag has got in him. And also, Ten Hag spoke about it after the game. He's like, I wanted to see what Kobbie Mainoo could do up against the midfield of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Modric, and of course, Bellingham. He left the stadium with crutches, ankle in a protective boot. Now, I'm hoping that it's going to be a bit like this. That was Ahmed. Was that after the Arsenal game? I think that was after the Arsenal game. I'm hoping that's more like an Ahmed or a Bruno type. You know, where Bruno was wearing a protective boot and then played 2 full 90 minutes that week. I'm hoping that it's nothing more than that. Because it's such a shame for the lad. It really, it's a shame for us. When Kobbie Mainoo went off, and I'll speak about the game, I'll speak about the issues around Christian Eriksen. Yeah, man. We didn't have the midfield that we needed to have. So let's hope it's not a ligament injury, because you know how long they can be. Let's just hope maybe some sort of sprain, maybe just a little tweak. We'll find out, but we don't know at this point in time. This is what Ten Hag said about it after the game. He goes, I understand the question, but you can never tell straight after a game. We have to wait for what it is. Hopefully it's not too bad and chances will come. So is that what the injury was there? Yeah, that's what the injury was there. So Casemiro tackled Rodrigo, and Rodrigo's body weight just went down on his, what ankle was it? So his left ankle. On his left ankle. Oh, that's Onana. So the ankle there, that is his left ankle. He must have gone full body weight just on that. And probably, I mean, you might say that it could be ligaments. I mean, let's hope it's not ligaments, man. Because Ten Hag was speaking about him. He was like, yeah, man, I've been really, that's the wrong one. Damn it. Too many photos. Too many tabs. Too many tabs. Kobbie's been one of the standout performers so far. And yeah, without him, we really did struggle yesterday, which is kind of it's a mad thing to say about an 18-year-old. But the momentum of him this season has been fantastic. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. Anthony, all these young stars deficient in calcium. Spoken like a true mum. Mark Fossey went to bed after 18 minutes. Part-timer. Absolute part-timer. Lots of you talking about the Hojlund deal. We'll speak about that in a little bit. But let's focus on, if that's the main negative from yesterday, which it is in my opinion, this is the main positive. We waited and we waited and we waited for the Andre Onana debut, and we got it. And as I said, the fact that we're all speaking so positively of Andre Onana's performance, despite the fact that we lost 2-0, was really indicative of how obvious it was, the difference he made to that team. Now, what did you make of Andre Onana's debut? I'll give you a little sneaky peek about something that I've got coming up later today, right? This is going to be the lunchtime video. And it's going to be an absolute scorcher, by the way, if I do say so myself, right? Let me show you this. I'm going to whiz through this, right? So you're not going to see it properly. But tonight, Matthew, I'm going to run through this later on, okay? This is going to be a full run through of his debut, looking at every single, example of positioning, sweeping, all that. That's going to be a really cracking video, a tactical one, because everyone seems to enjoy it. And big up Steve for helping with the research on that. But this, I believe, is what Erik ten Hag said about Andre Onana. He said, look, when you play against Real Madrid, you will concede chances because it's a very good team. But overall, I think he really played quite well. He was there when we conceded chances. I think everyone has seen he made a good debut. What did you make of his debut, all right? Let me know in the comments. That's probably one of the best photos that make you realize how different it's kind of going to be with Andre Onana in goal. His starting position yesterday, and we can take a look at this. Wrong one. This. You can see the average positions here of Manchester United compared to Real Madrid. Real Madrid on the right-hand side, Manchester United on the left-hand side. You can see Andre Onana's average position right on the edge of his 18-yard box, which is exactly where we all thought. When I've been doing my previews for all, that's exactly where we thought it would be. And you look at Real Madrid's, and it's just a little bit deeper. Well, interestingly enough, their defense is still, arguably, actually a little bit higher than Manchester United. So the space between the defense and the goalkeeper is pretty big. This, again, a nice indicator of how Andre Onana played. You can see his heat map compared to the Real Madrid goalkeeper. He was moving around. And that's what I'm going to do later on. As I said, I'm going to go down there and read a few of your comments out now. On this bad boy. Kenny, you're saying Onana was good. First goal shouldn't have stood. The first goal with it, it was offside. It was definitely offside. Lovely ball. Lovely finish from Bellingham. 1,000,000% offside. And we were down to 10 minutes at that moment in time because Kobbie Mainoo was off. Robert Taylor, you're saying De Gea would have needed his passport to get that far out of the box. I'm seeing some weird things being said, man. Like, De Gea shouldn't have been sold. De Gea would have saved that. De Gea wouldn't have moved off his line. I wonder how long it's going to take for that to sort of disappear. I'll probably give it a full season, I think. I think people are going to have the energy to do that for maybe a year. And then they'll probably get bored. I mean, I hope so. Because it's boring to even think about it. Let alone even talk about it. It's just, really? You're really going to go down that path? Andre Onana, I think he had 95% pass accuracy yesterday. The positions were good. He helped Manchester United play through the press. I liked what he did. And I can't wait to see more. I'm going to see what you're saying in the comments now. One here from Spence. How you doing, buddy? Thank you very much. You're saying Scott apparently got a knee injury at the end of the game. Amrabat deal has to get done if both Mainoo and him are going to be injured for a while. I mean, the Amrabat deal was, it shouldn't really be impacted by any injuries. It should just be looking at Amrabat as a good signing. Yeah, he had a bit of a knee tweak, I think, towards the end, but I think what we're seeing so far is he's all right. But let's find out. And you're saying I should just acknowledge that there is some point in there? What? Really? Really? There's not. There's not. De Gea did not suit this system and would never have suited this system. You can argue. You can really argue as much as you want, people. But it's just not the truth. You're not looking at what is in front of you. Onana will make some mistakes. I don't particularly think that was a massive mistake yet. Bellingham was so far offside. Maybe he wasn't so far offside. He was offside. Definitely was offside. Onana came to close the gap. He tipped him. Fine. It's weird. It's I can tell what's going to happen. There's going to be so many people going, oh, nah. De Gea wouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have sold him. What a waste of money. It's just a bit boring. It really is. Jibak, and I can't be asked to argue with it down here, man. This is a show with everyone else. All right. Jibak, what are you saying? Ironic that Onana came up with a counter-attacking team. Came up against the counter-attacking team in his debut. Against pressing sides, his impact will be made way more prominent. Man, how fast were Real Madrid in the counter-attack yesterday? It was disgusting. Their transition from defense to attack was lightning. Absolutely lightning fast. Vinicius, I mean, I knew he was fast. I knew he was sharp. But man, when he gets the ball at his feet, it's ridiculous. Real Madrid are Real Madrid, right? It's unfair how good their squad is. Always unfair. But very happy. I was very happy with how Onana played on his debut. Were there mistakes? I'm sure there were. Of course there were. Are there things he's going to improve on? Yep. You're damn sure there are. But for his debut and against Real Madrid, welcome to the club. And it's going to make such a big impact. I think you're correct there in that comment, by the way, Jibak, in the idea that when we do play up against teams that really press us, that's where you're going to be seeing him breaking through. He did it a couple of times yesterday, Onana, like through the gaps, broken the press. But that's really where he's going to come to the fore. But of course, we can speak about Onana all day long. But if you look at the biggest problem that Manchester United had yesterday, I think it was quite obvious, right? Erik ten Hag was talking about how, look, the pressing shape can be better. I'll be completely honest. I don't think that Manchester United should have Bruno on the right wing. I think Ten Hag made a bit of an error in the substitution when Kobbie Mainoo got injured. He put Eriksen on. I think what would have been better would be putting Bruno in the middle and then Anthony on the right wing. More natural shape. I don't want to see Bruno shifted out to the right wing this season. I know it was there as a kind of like a needs must last season. When Anthony was injured, we didn't really have anybody on the right wing. Bruno put his hand up and said, nice. I don't want to see Bruno on the right wing. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments, whether I'm being unfair there. But the issue, of course, was the lack of a striker. I know that the striker was a priority. The striker has always been a priority. However, I felt that the arrival of Andre Onana was not equally as important, but I'm talking just below, just a level below. But we missed not having a striker yesterday, didn't we? Got into positions, good positions quite a few times, and the finishing was all over the shop. Anthony kind of firing shots wide. We need Hojlund. And I'm going to be speaking about Hojlund next. But It's not the first game this preseason. It's not the first game in the last however many years. However many games that we've played under Ten Hag that we've missed not having an elite level striker. Malps, you're saying, why wasn't the striker the first signing? It's because the striker is a difficult signing. The striker would have been the first signing if Spurs said, yeah, right, this is the price. We would have paid it. We would already have had Harry Kane. Harry Kane would be a Manchester United player. He wasn't. We had to pivot. We had to go elsewhere. Extra money, that went to Onana, and now we've gone to Hojlund. That's the only reason we haven't signed a striker yet. Josiah, you're saying a striker will not score over 30 goals. Our wingers need to contribute too. I think that's a pretty fair comment. I don't think if Hojlund comes in, I don't expect him to score 30 goals in his first season. And I would expect more goals from Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes to be chipping in, Anthony to up his contribution, Marcus Rashford on the left wing as well, Jadon Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho. I mean, I'm talking about goal scorers here. There should be plenty of goals in and around this Manchester United team. John Hyde, you're saying Ten Hag's not using the players to their strengths. I think he does largely. I don't think he does largely. He definitely does largely. But yeah, I don't want to see Bruno on the right wing anymore. I think we've got enough options. You can play Sancho on the right wing. You can play Anthony on the right wing. You can play Pellistri on the right wing. You could play Ahmad on the right wing. We've got enough options there that we don't have to drag Bruno out of position because he is the centerpiece. Bruno is the centerpiece in transition defensively, the centerpiece, just everything going forward and backwards. You want him as close to the action as possible. So that's why I don't like Bruno out on the right wing. He's too isolated. He's not in the game enough. And then he receives the ball just like on the byline and he kind of looks up and all of a sudden he's kind of spraying the ball over to the other wing because he hasn't got any room to run into. Keep Bruno in that number 8 position, please, Eric. Don't go there. And that's what I think this was the this for me was the biggest issue with the substitution yesterday because Christian Eriksen, right? Big fan of Christian Eriksen. Love the guy. However, he needs to be used correctly this season. And that's going to come down to management. And by me saying correctly, I mean not in games like this. Not in games against Real Madrid, Man City. We saw it away at the Etihad last year. Happened again too. Man City, Arsenal. I think it also happened away at Arsenal. Liverpool. You know when the game is just... It cranks up a couple of notches. Football at the elite top level now is so fast, so rapid, and you have to be a supreme athlete. You have to be sharp over those first 10 yards. Your acceleration has to be on point. Like footballers are... Back in the day, you could have had a little pot belly and you probably would have been all right if you were good enough. Not anymore. Not anymore. So the game is unfortunately too fast for Eriksen. Games like Real Madrid are too fast by Eriksen. So I completely and utterly, I can't disagree with this anymore. I don't know why people have got to go to such extremes with their comments. Oh, he looks finished, retire. Hell no. Eriksen's a quality player. However, starting him in games like this, that's not good. Starting him at home against Nottingham Forest when they're sitting deep and Manchester United need to break through it and they're not really pressing us, a perfect game. Perfect game for Christian Eriksen. However, in games like this, where you really need a lot of energy and a lot of movement, it's kind of where it gets exposed. And what probably makes it a little bit worse is the fact that you have got Casemiro as well. Casemiro is not a spring chicken. Casemiro will not have that relentless tank of energy that he might have used to have. So putting Casemiro and Eriksen alongside each other all of a sudden makes Manchester United's midfield not very mobile. Eriksen can really be a good player for Man United this season, but we need to manage him correctly. Use him in the right games. And I don't think that was the right situation yesterday, personally. Of course, it's preseason, so the result itself doesn't matter. But, you know, when you see patterns and you start to see developments, and that's what I'm focusing on. I don't really want to see that from, I don't know. I'll read a few of your comments out on Eriksen. Raymond, you just joined us a member, dude. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll try and give you a shout out in the comments. Walter, you're saying Eriksen is a useful player for certain games, and that's personally what I feel. Daz, you're still disagreeing. You're saying every game is too quick for Eriksen. Come on, man. Really? So many teams in the Premier League will be sitting there deep, low block, and just trying to hit on the counter-attack. Those games are nowhere near too fast for Christian Eriksen, who will have time on the ball, not getting pressed, not having to run down and close the spaces. There will be plenty of games, I think. I mean, or maybe just use Eriksen towards the latter. That's what I think Eriksen could and probably should be used for. The last half an hour of games where there's a little bit of energy that's out of the opposition's legs. United might be looking at closing the game out or maybe needing somebody to break through and find that killer pass. I think in that situation, that's where Eriksen can be a positive. But, I mean, I don't think the performance of Eriksen means we need Amrabat any more than we did before. I don't think an injury to Kobbie Mainoo, well, the fingers crossed it's a little minor injury anyway, but Eriksen will definitely serve a place in the squad this year, and I don't think it should be starting in games like that. Stephen, you're saying can't believe the hate for Eriksen in the chat. There's no, maybe there is some. I don't know. I'm not here hating on Eriksen. I just think, you have to be it's awareness, right, of things that I can see that. It's the truth. It's the truth. Eriksen can't be starting for Manchester United every week anymore. The game is just a little bit too fast for him, but it doesn't mean there isn't a purpose for him in this squad. Obviously, this was a little bit of a talking point yesterday. It's kind of been a bit of a talking point with Martinez throughout this preseason tour. Got a yellow against Arsenal, now got a yellow against Real Madrid yesterday. And this is what Jude Bellingham said after the game. He goes, the little tip of Martinez, one of those things. He's a brilliant player. Came in at halftime, was effing this, effing that. But when he came over to wish me all the best, when he came off, I really respected it. Martinez has no chill. And I would not want that to change. I would not want that to change. That sort of aggression it's needed. It's a necessity. Man United have had a soft underbelly for so long. I want Martinez to just keep being Martinez, all right? Sentage saying one more yellow, he's suspended. I'm guessing yellow cards have got nothing to do with the Premier League. I'm pretty sure anyway. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these bad boys out. Jordan, you're saying that's why we need Amrabat. I don't think that's kind of irrelevant, in my opinion. I don't think the fact that Eriksen can't start games is the reason that we need Amrabat. I think we just need Amrabat anyway, regardless of that. Matt, how you doing, buddy? Thank you very much. You're saying, I actually think we played pretty well against the one. Man, is that how much they're worth? Jeez. Just need a striker. Mainoo injury was unfortunate. It's the butcher at his best. I thought we definitely played better in the second half than the first half. A little bit more fluidity, a little bit more movement. But again, that lack of a sort of edge up front. That lack of a killer instinct with the final finish. I can see some. There's a few of you down here. Was it Ferocious? You're going after Mason Mount. Some people, dudes. He's not even played He's not even played 90 minutes for Man United yet. Not a full 90 minutes. He's played like 3 or 4 preseason games. I don't know. All right, cool. I mean, each to their own. Cool. You won't be hearing me going after Mason Mount anytime soon. All right. So that's not really a conversation I'm going to be getting involved with. If you want to do that, you can go and do that elsewhere. Hey, speaking of positives, I didn't speak of positives, but I'm going to switch towards a positive. Oi, oi. Aron Wan-Bissaka. I don't think anybody's made me look more stupid than Wan-Bissaka. I have I've eaten multiple humble pies over Aron Wan-Bissaka. I completely 100% wrote him off. Completely wrote him off. I was like, there's no chance whatsoever that he exists or works in an Erik ten Hag system. And when you watch Aron Wan-Bissaka now and you compare him to last year, it's like you're staring at 2 different players. Wan-Bissaka now playing 1-touch football, 2-touch football, comfortable with the ball at his feet, comfortable under the press. Alex, you're saying, has he ended the conversation about the need for a new right back? Well, that conversation never existed this summer anyway. But yeah, I mean, Diogo Dalot, good luck getting back in that team right now. Going forward, he's better as well. It's just the link up. He's not doing too much individually, but it's just he's adding to the team. He really is understanding the inverted fullback position, which I don't think he particularly got last year, and it took him a while because it must be difficult. Naturally, all fullbacks want to go on the overlap. That's the sort of way that they've been built. That's the sort of the muscle memory and the instinct to go on the outside, and you have to sort of retrain yourself. As I said, it's a credit to Manchester United's coaching, and it's a credit to Wan-Bissaka as an individual that those two things have worked together. Ten Hag's coaching and Mitchell van der Gag and McLaren and Benny McCarthy and everyone else who's there, they've done wonders. But Wan-Bissaka's taken it all on board, absorbed it, and has made himself a significantly better player as a consequence. And as I said, he's made me look stupid in the process. Hold my hands up about Wan-Bissaka. I already did an apology video about him last season. I'm going to do another one. What do you think about Wan-Bissaka? Peter is saying Wan-Bissaka is a monster. Mr. Buggy, Wan-Bissaka was a winger early in his career. That became like a trend a few years ago. Well, it's still a trend, I suppose, of fullbacks becoming converted wingers because then they have that natural instinct going forward. Wayne, you're saying Wan-Bissaka was my man of the match, in my opinion. One-touch football and movement was brilliant. Anthony, you're saying is he our number one right back ahead of Dalot? I think so. Well, I mean, I know so because, look, he started every game, isn't he? Diogo Dalot was the right back of the first half of last season. After the World Cup, Wan-Bissaka took it, shone, and Wan-Bissaka's not let go of it since. So it's interesting competition on that right back, sorry. And for sure, United are in a good position here in that position this season. Right. We've been talking about the game now for half an hour, and we haven't even got to the biggest part of the show. And we are going to move on now to speak about transfers, to speak about Rasmus Hojlund, to speak about Sofyan Amrabat, and sort of any other transfer news that you would like to speak about. If you can, take 1 second now, please. Drop a like on the video. Look, there might be opinions that I disagree with, and I've disagreed with you there. Ferocious, I've disagreed with you there. I'm not... Sometimes I dismiss opinions because I just don't want to get into an argument. Most of the time, I listen. I'll take your opinions on board. But hey, look, it's a community. As I said, it's opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. Some are bad. There's a couple of super chats here. I'll read these before we move on and we speak about Rasmus Hojlund. We've got Shepo. You are saying this, sir. Wan-Bissaka was good going forward when he was bought from Crystal Palace. He's always had those qualities. I'm glad he's getting the respect he deserves, mate. He's getting the respect. He does deserve it. He deserves all the credit and all the praise because ultimately it's down to him. You can have the best coaches in the world. If the player himself is not willing to take on those changes, accept them, and use them to better himself, then it's just kind of wasted coaching. That's where it's working better together. Jordan, you're in my camp here. You're saying, I agree. I'd written him off. He's a completely different player under Ten Hag, getting better and better. I had him as a flop and I'm wrong. Hand in the air. Totally and utterly got that one completely wrong. And I hope I'm wrong about Martial. And I hope I have to do a, I don't know, like an apology video to Martial because he plays 30, 40 games. Don't think I will. But I'm happy to be... I love being proven wrong by anybody. Because it means that Manchester United as a squad are better off for it. I don't care how good I look. If Manchester United are better, that's the most important thing. S, how you doing? Do you think we'll go in for Ivan Toney in January? Probably not. It might depend on what point we're at during the season. I don't know. If we're going toe-to-toe at the top of the league, but we're just a little bit short of firepower, we're in the Champions League knockouts, maybe that could be a conversation that happens. But it'll be a big and an expensive January signing, which typically we don't do. I know we've done Bruno before. We did Juan Mata before. I know we've signed Evra and Vidic. Did we get them both in January as well? Typically, the big signings don't happen in January. Can't rule it out, but you never know. But look, right? This is the man that we need. Well, we probably need more than him. Let's be totally honest, right? Signing a 20-year-old from Atalanta with a breakthrough season of 9 goals is hardly the sort of striker signing who will take you to immediately becoming title contenders. Harry Kane is the one. Harry Kane is the one that is that guy. But As it stands, United are not going in for him, despite everything that's going on with Joe Lewis, the Spurs owner, and the indictment, and the fact that he's been told, but apparently Levy's been told that he needs to sell Kane if he's not going to sign a new contract. Look, we're just going to continue to see how that develops. But this Rasmus Hojlund situation, we've got the bid that we expected, that we were told was coming this week, has now gone in. Let me read this article here from David Ornstein. Came out yesterday. I didn't particularly think that it was worth us going live, so I didn't. I saved the conversation for this morning. Rene, not Mulenstein, but Pedersen. Let me know where you're watching from, dude. I'll try and give you a shout out. Paulie is saying Thuram on a free. He's already joined Inter Milan, so that would be very difficult. But this is what David Ornstein is saying, all right? Manchester United have made a verbal offer of 50 million euros plus 10 mil in add-ons, which is 60 mil euros, which is, what's that, 54? Oh, 51. Damn. 51.4 million pounds. We've spoken about this quite a few times, the community. And I think we all agreed that a price somewhere between 60 to 70 million euros. That's where we felt the deal would be sort of agreed, and I still kind of feel that even after this, that Atalanta want more than 70 million. Y'all ain't getting that, but that's the first bid gone in. And what do you think about that bid? I personally feel that's a pretty decent bid. It's a pretty fair bid. It's a pretty strong bid. 60 million euros. You know full well that they're gonna agree and compromise somewhere in the region of 65 to 70 million euros. That's probably going to be the max that they're going to get, the max they'll squeeze out of it. And reports, remember, this week said that Manchester United's maximum was 60 million pounds. But yeah, what's a verbal offer? I think that's probably why I didn't do a live show yesterday. Is it just John Murtaugh down the phone? 50 mil plus 10? How's that? Rather than a written formal offer. Huge Hugh, I'm going to call you Hugh. You're saying 65 mil euro is maximum for me. Lots of you, quite a few of you speaking about Ramos. Mate, there is nobody speaking about Ramos. There must be a reason for that, surely. In a summer where Bayern Munich and Manchester United both need strikers and no one's speaking about Ramos. Presumably, Benfica are whacking on the Darwin Núñez 100 mil price tag. Presumably. Because there's no way that United and Bayern haven't even had a conversation about him. You can't just ignore him. You look at all options. Right, what are you saying down here about this man here? 60 mil euros. It's an offer without payment structure discussed. Well, no, it's right there. Oh, you mean payment structure? Okay, so you mean like we'll give you X amount this year over the course of 4 years. Nah, I suppose that's part of the formalized offer, isn't it? Because you get into the nitty-gritties. I want United to get this deal done within a week. Basically, because I'm going to a festival, and it would just annoy the heck when I booked it, because I haven't had, I can't really have time off in the summer because it's absolutely full-blown mad here, isn't it? No time off here. Anyway, I booked the festival because I was like, the weekend before, there's no games. Sweet. I can have a couple of days, recuperate, come back, be ready for the season. And then all of a sudden, United added in 2 extra preseason games against Lens and Athletic Club. And I'm like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. Anyway, I'm hoping that this deal gets done by this time next week. It doesn't feel like there isn't, right? What do you genuinely, not what you think, but not your opinion, but what do you genuinely feel is going to be the price? Let's see if we can do this as a poll. What's going to be the price? I think we might have done this. What price do Atalanta compromise on? Right, so we've got a bid there of 50 mil plus 10. So do you reckon it will be 55 mil plus 10? 60 mil plus 10? Or 65 mil plus 10? Man, that's a lot. Wait, it should be 65 mil plus 10, but I'll put it in there. Which one do you think that they'll compromise on? Because I think they will. I don't think we're too far off that compromise. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. There's a super chat here from Kenyon saying Atalanta are smoking spice for like, asking that much for Hojlund. Man, I remember when I was in Newquay when I was like, what, 17? I remember smoking spice. It was legal at that point. No one knew what it was. I've never done it since. You're 17. You're in Newquay. What are you doing? Jonathan, you're saying way too much, wherever it is. Hey, look, we all agree on that, man. We all agree on that. This dude is overpriced. However, we need a striker. Like, what would you rather have? 50, 60 mil in the bank or a striker? It probably won't happen, right? But there's always that one little part of you, isn't there, right? When it comes to signing players with potential, you know, not quite stars yet, but you look at them and go, you know what? If he fulfills his potential, what a player he could be. And that's pretty much that's where I'm looking. That's how I am when I'm looking at Rasmus Hojlund. I'm looking at his physique. I'm looking at his natural capability. I've got a massive in-depth. Seriously, it is the most in-depth scouting report we've ever done here on United People's TV. Big up to Steve for helping with the research. We are talking north of 100 slides, looking at every single aspect of his game. It's the most in-depth report, showing you exactly what striker he is, his movement, what his weaknesses are, so you can understand a bit more about him. Right, if he fulfills his potential, and United have identified correctly, because playing for Atalanta is one thing, playing for Manchester United is a whole different level. But certain players do that. Certain players thrive in that environment. And everyone's obviously going to look at Haaland as the shining example of that, and the self-belief he's got. And the fact that he's called Hojlund is just funny. You can see the headlines already. But 60 mil has gone in. Let me see what you're saying there in the comments about how much you think Atalanta will compromise on. Let's have a look. Got 500 votes in the first 2 minutes. Big up to everyone. And 51% of you think that they'll compromise on 55 mil plus 10. And 31% of you think that they'll compromise on 60 mil plus 10. I mean, 60 mil plus 10 is pretty much what they want, isn't it? Jonathan, you're saying there has never been a more obvious buy than Kane, and there's no plan in place. I'd agree with the first part. I disagree with the second part. There has never been a more obvious signing than Kane. We went in. We were inquiring in like April. But United, scarred from last summer with De Jong, they were told, we're not selling to you. We will never sell to you. Go away. Kane is not joining a Premier League club. We were told that. Instead of United being a stubborn mule and going, that's not what they mean. That's not what they mean. And then we just chase Kane all summer and then don't sign him. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with Frenkie de Jong. Whereas United are actually listening to what Spurs are saying, and they are adamant that they will not sell to a Premier League club. So we've moved on. So yeah, I completely agree that Kane is that. I mean, I'm genuinely, right, and I'll say this, I'm excited about the idea of signing Rasmus Hojlund. Really am. However, if we were to sign Harry Kane, I would go into that season absolutely confident that Manchester United would be involved in the Premier League title race. That's the sort of difference that Kane would make. The self-belief in fans, let alone what the self-belief in the players would be. Surely that would be reflected onto them. That's the level that Harry Kane would take us up to. Rasmus Hojlund will not be able to do that. There is no other striker that we could sign that would basically be risk-free. Harry Kane is the only risk-free signing. Partib saying the world's oldest and worst comment, Harry Kane is injury-prone. I can't be bothered to explain that again. But go and have a look at his injury history from the last 3 years and then come back here and say that he's injury-prone. Because it's nay the truth. Glass ankles was back in the day. David, you're saying exactly. So why not going all in for Harry Kane? hey, look, maybe United are doing something behind the scenes that we don't know. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it could be a Tyrell Malacia type situation. I don't know how we get the money for that, by the way, but just hypothetically. We get Rasmus Hojlund. It would be foolish of United to put all of our eggs in the Harry Kane basket. And I suppose we're just listening to what Spurs are telling us. You might say, Sam, that's foolish, put in a bid. Maybe putting in a formal bid is something that sort of changes the conversation, forces the issue somewhat. They've turned down, 2 bids from Bayern Munich? I would love nothing more than to sign Harry Kane. But it doesn't mean I'm going to look at this lad and think he's going to be a bad signing. Pardon me. Ten Hag has been hitting the bullseye with his signings so far. Of course, Mason Mount. Is my judgment reserved on Mason Mount? Yeah, it's going to be reserved for a good while. There's no way I'm going to be judging a signing after 3 games. I don't know. So I think some people just like arguing. It's fun to argue or something like that. Alex and Gungshi, 2 of the proper OGs of the channel and the community, legends and icons. You get a gong each. Yeah, boy. Oh, nearly broke my gong. Rennie, you're saying if we've got the money for it, get Hojlund first, then see what happens with Kane. That's an ideal situation. And hey, look, you never know, man. Like Scott McTominay getting linked with a 45 million move to West Ham. You might scoff at that, but he's 30 million north of 30 million easily. Maguire maybe too. Fred on there. Van der Beek. Man, we could still raise over 100 million from sales. Let's find out. I want Harry Kane. The overwhelming majority of you want Harry Kane. But it doesn't mean that I think that Hojlund would be a bad signing. But let's go here and let's have a conversation about this man, because just the noise keeps getting louder and louder over Amrabat. It was last night Alfredo Padula who I said that we should be following what he's saying on this situation. He shared a link to this article here, which isn't actually written by him. So I don't know whether he's just sharing a colleague's article, but he's saying that, look, Manchester United, let's bring this up here. Man United have actually gone back in for Amrabat, have raised their offer to 35 million euros. And that is game, set and match. That United are on the verge now of signing Amrabat. I think Amrabat would be a great signing. I really, really do. I look at this squad depth and I think from a positional perspective, you might say that if we signed Amrabat, it would be Casemiro and Amrabat sort of swapping in and out for that deeper role. Then Kobbie Mainoo probably would go a little bit slightly further forward, play like there as a deputy to Mason Mount and Bruno. And Eriksen would be there too, and that would be good squad depth. I still think, well, the Amrabat situation has always felt quite similar to me. We need sales first, man. We need sales first. If you've got confidence that you will do your job as a football club in the summer, you should never have to wait for sales first. But maybe that makes it more difficult for you to negotiate because I don't know. Either way, if Fred's leaving, sell Fred, man. Ship him out. If Van der Beek is leaving, find a club for him and move him on and bring in Amrabat. Jibak, you're saying, are we signing Amrabat before even signing a striker? Yeah, I don't think we are. I don't think we are. That's why I'm not leading with this as the main story. I covered the full story of Amrabat to United yesterday. How this story is completely developed to this point. More reports from Italy saying, look, United have even gone in with a bigger bid. Then we were talking about bids yesterday of like 22 to 25 million euros. All of a sudden, you're talking about 35 overall. Wow, that's a big increase. Quite a few in the comments there saying we could have used Amrabat last night. Yeah, we definitely could have, for sure. Kevin, you sent a super chat, dude. Thank you very much for what you're saying. Kevin is saying we need to sign Hojlund so we can hopefully score more goals. Rashford can't keep bailing us out in the competitive league and especially in the Champions League. I would absolutely... It's kind of a pointless question at this point in time, but maybe I'm interested to know. If Manchester United do sign this bad boy, How many goals would you expect him to score in his first season? Give me like a 5. Is it 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 25 to 30, etc., etc.? How many goals do you think he will score in his first? And what do you think will be a good amount of goals for him to score? Because we're going to need him to be a top-level goal scorer. I don't think that we can, in our wildest dreams, imagine that he can come in and score 30 goals in his debut season. Rashford was the first Man United striker since Robin van Persie to do that. We've been starved of it. 30 goal a season players, there's like 2 in the last 10 years, right? So that's highly unlikely. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. Let's see down here and see what you're saying. Daniel, you're saying 20 to 25 goals we need. 15 to 20 says Kirk. Benjamin and Chris, you're both saying 10 to 15. Matt, you're saying all competitions a minimum of 20 goals. 15 to 20. 20 to 25 says Shepo. 5 to 10 says Collins. Look, Anthony got 8 goals last year, right? Hojlund would definitely get more than that. What am I saying down? Let's have a look at the poll quickly. See what price you think we've got on him. 1,000 votes, yes. If you can, ladies and gents, drop a like on the video. And I always forget to, I'm mentioning it, what is it now? 46 minutes into the show. There's only 4 days left now on the raffle this month for a summer holiday. £700 worth of holiday vouchers you can get for £1. Tickets are down there. Make sure you grab yours, and we're going to be doing the draw very soon. Majority of you are saying probably, I don't know, 15 to 20? I think so. Abby making a good point there, expecting 10 goals from Mason Mount. Yeah. I want 10 goals from Mount, 10 goals from Bruno, 20 goals from Rashford. I want 10 goals from Sancho, 10 goals from Anthony. And these are not unrealistic expectations at all on players of their quality. So the necessity for Hojlund to come in and bang in 35 in his first season, it won't be there as much if Manchester United's whole attack pulls their socks up. But we need him to be scoring. I would like to see him, personally, I would like to see him score 20 in his first season. I don't think that's an unrealistic expectation. I think that's a pretty fair expectation of a striker in the Premier League at Manchester United's level. But let's find out. Yeah, Joris, you're saying, shout out to Sam for watching both late games. I'm up at 10. I don't know how much sleep I've had in the last couple of days. No much. I'm going to need a serious power nap after this. But look, I can't actually because I've got to do my Onana debut video and then I'll nap after that. A little bit of an update on Kovar here. He is not going back to Sparta Prague. He's confirmed it here. Look, this is the end of my journey with Sparta Prague. So, Matej Kovar will be going on loan or maybe on a permanent deal. I kind of hope not. But let's find out. Surprisingly, Ant, you'll disagree with me, which I've never seen before. You're saying 20 from Hojlund, you don't see it at all. Cool. I do. That's what I would. Maybe I don't. That's what I want to see. And I'm gonna I visualize to realize and all that. All those crappy little motivational quotes you get. But yeah, Kovar won't be staying. But yeah, I hope we can get 20 goals from him if he comes in. I think a fair and realistic expectation is probably somewhere between 20 and 50. I'm not talking about 20 goals in the league, by the way. I'm talking 20 goals in all competitions. Are you just talking about the league here? Because I might have confused that. Josiah, you're saying it's a permanent deal to Sunderland? No, that's Nathan Bishop. He's going to Sunderland. Yeah, Casemiro might chip in with a couple of goals, but I'm looking across all of our wingers, all of our attackers. I'm saying you should be scoring 10. You should be scoring 10. You should be scoring 10. And once you share that load, it becomes far easier to play as a football team. Less pressure on one individual. Like last season, man, Rashford shouldered it all. And when he didn't score, our goals really dried up. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. I realize I've done my question wrong. Imagine me saying he's going to score 20 goals in the Premier League in his debut season. That is unrealistic. My bad. Rashford scored 30 goals in all competitions last season. That's the measure I'm going for. So if Rashford got 30 in all competitions, I think we should be expecting Hojlund to come in and get 20. And that's why I said Sancho 10. I'm not saying Sancho 10 in the league. I'm saying Sancho 10 in all competitions. Sancho, Garnacho, Bruno, Mount, Anthony, all of them should be getting 10 goals each. Hojlund should be getting 20 goals. Rashford should be getting 20 goals. That's what I want to see. But let's find out. Hey, we're talking a bit too much about how many goals he's going to bloody score. We've not even signed him yet. But the 60 mil bid has gone in, euros. Let's see what the poll is to end the show. 51% of you, we've had 1,200 votes. You're saying 55 mil plus 10 is probably going to be enough to convince Atalanta. I reckon you might get somewhere in between like 57.5. But we're not far off. We're talking, I think, between 5 and 7.5 million euros, I think, off where the compromise is. That's a gap we'll close. I hope we close it quick. I hope by this point next week, we've already got a Hojlund deal agreed. That would be nice. But yesterday, the big negative was the injury to Kobbie Mainoo, and fingers crossed that it wasn't that bad. He did leave on crutches, but we won't get an update just yet, and I can't imagine we'll see him against Dortmund. I imagine United are now just going to rest him the whole way through to the season start in, 15 days' time? And the biggest positive was Andre Onana's debut. I'm going to run through my video at lunchtime today, as I said, is going to be this. It is going to be a full look. It is going to be a full look at Andre Onana's debut. Going to run through all the stats, going to run through all the key aspects of his game here, his distribution, his cross-claiming, his positioning, his sweeping, right? Lots of you are saying that David Ornstein has tweeted, which means I'm definitely going to have to take a quick look. What are you saying, Orn? Oh, okie dokie. Right, well, it looks like we are going to be here for a little bit longer, because that is a very interesting development. 1 second here. Let me pull this up. Indeed. Right. David Ornstein has just tweeted about the Rasmus Hojlund situation, right? This is what he said yesterday about the bid. Manchester United with a 60 million verbal offer for Rasmus Hojlund. PSG have made a 50 million offer for him. Now, I'm presuming that means it is formalized rather than a verbal offer, which is a little bit of a slight difference, of course. You're a mathematician. That's 10 million lower than Manchester United's. Let's see what the article says. All right, let's pull this up. PSG have made a 50 million euro bid for Rasmus Hojlund. The Serie A club have high expectations, however, and the league champions will walk away if the offer is not accepted. We've already made that offer of 50 mil plus 10. So, yeah, Hojlund's indicated that he wants Manchester United. But this is why Manchester United, I suppose, couldn't dilly-dally. Dilly-dally. Dilly-dilly. Is that a Bud Light advert? I think it is. God of you, you're saying that's a dumb bid. Well, they've made an offer of 50 mil. United have made a verbal offer. That might mean that PSG have stepped up, written it all down, got the payment terms all formalized. I mean, they're not going to accept it, because why am I going to accept you for 50 mil when United have just made a verbal offer of 60 mil? It's a weird one. I don't know why PSG would lowball like that, given that it's PSG, given that they've got money coming out their ears. I'm not particularly worried about that. Famous last words, of course. But PSG, David Ornstein, confirming that they have put in a 50 million offer for him. Man United have already agreed personal terms with him, right? Rasmus Hojlund was a United fan as a kid. Rasmus Hojlund wants to play for Manchester United. Make no mistake about it. Our offer is 10 million higher than PSG's. He's already agreed to join us. The ball is firmly in Manchester United's court on this one. I would like to think that the fear of what PSG could do, and would mean that Manchester United are willing to compromise on a couple of million euros a little bit quicker. That adds haste to the situation. It forces United to not dilly, to actually get that formalised bid in, find that so PSG have bid 50 mil. I'm all right with that. Matt, you're saying we can't compete with PSG though? In what sense? We are competing with PSG. We've offered 10 mil more than them. Jonathan showing his age. CFAX was more exciting than all these journalists tweeting all the time. 606 was now and next, wasn't it? I remember that. Kids, if you don't know what CFAX is, go and have a look. There's some old dudes in the comments here. So I'm on the verge. Alex, you're saying just put in 55 mil plus 10 mil and get him. Yeah, I would like to think that this forces the issue for Manchester United, forces us to go back with the second offer. Nice and quick. Cool. Let's get this deal done. Organised. Great. Bob's your uncle. Let's move on. No time to wait around. But I think the difference here between that is a verbal offer and an offer. One's a legal contract, submitted offer. One is over the phone. How you doing? 60 mil. Get that formal offer in United now, ASAP Rocky. I would like to think that we'd already done that. You never know. But David Ornstein tweeted that whilst we were live and direct, so we spoke about it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That was a good show. I enjoyed that. The Real Madrid game was a little bit disappointing. Onana's debut was probably the best part, and I'm going to now run through my full analysis of Onana's debut, so make sure you check that out. Have a cracking day. Make sure you drop a like on the video, and maybe I'll be back here later on live after we put in a second bid for Hojlund. That'd be nice.